You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. I could not tell you before, because my first wife is royal. That marriage is secret because I am not. And we have a son, a prince. You are not my first wife, but I love you. We two must keep our marriage secret. Otherwise, I will be destroyed. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You will not my first wife, who told you I am married, and my wife is here too. Well, my first wife is old, but I won't disgrace her with divorce for my children. So yes, in America we won't be legal, but we will marry in the mosque, and you will be my real wife. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You are not my first wife, but you are young and lovely. You will be my pleasure wife. I already have children with my first wife. They are my priority, I want no more. I told you to give me none. What? You're pregnant again. I won't love them. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You are not my first wife. You are no longer very young. You will never be a first wife. You accepted my offer to be second. Now let me use the bed in your home for my new woman to visit me in. I can't take her to my first wife's home. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You are not my first wife, but you were my American wife. I said I would take you to my country. Well, here you are. You can meet my uncles, but no women in my family. My uncles say you must find a way, have our marriage annulled and go home. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You are not my first wife. Yes, I married another right after you and I broke up. But now I am in America. Let's do temporary marriage. Wouldn't that be fun? We can be together over here. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You will be my favorite. We are a love match, so beautiful you are. Now I must return to our country, to my first wife and 3 sons. All my money goes to them. Have Americans support you. I can't. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. Second wives aren't legal in the USA. You have no hold on me, and I am still free. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You're almost nothing.
Hallelujah. Let Lord Jesus shine forth. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. Welcome. Hope everyone is fine. And we are going to talk about zombies and Muhammad's parents, how they become one of the zombies. And to do that, I do have Brother Truth Defenders with me. Peace of Christ be with you, brother. How are you? You are muted. I hope you are not saying something important because you are muted.
Sorry about that. Better than I deserve. How are you?
I knew you weren't saying something important.
Okay.
I'm doing okay. Thank you, brother. What have you
Good.
been up to?
Same old thing, just life, work, ministry, and tacos.
Okay, so you've got kind of no life beside ministry.
Basically.
Okay. What's happening with Mohammed's parents, brother?
Well, I was reading some hadiths some time back, and I ran across some hadiths that mention a little bit of Muhammad's parents and his uncle and different family members that have that died, and realized that his family weren't Muslims. They were pagans. And then I realized, well, Muhammad spoke very harshly about the destiny of the pagans, where they would go. For instance, shirk being one of the Akbar sins, the great sins, tells us that in Islam that is an unforgivable sin. You die as a polytheist, you associate partners with Allah in any way, shape, or form, you're pretty much toast. You're going to go be a crispy critter in the hellfire. So that got me thinking, well, what was the abode of his parents? Because Muslims like to make a big deal out of lineages and succession. And so I thought, okay, well, let's see where Muhammad's parents went. And also, what I was thinking was, because I've heard Muslims mocking the resurrection of the dead often, especially concerning the crucifixion of Christ. Shabir Ali has mocked the crucifixion in a very blasphemous and irreverent way in one of his lectures, or I think it was a debate where he just mocked the crucifixion. But during the crucifixion, there was an opening of the graves, and the dead saints were resurrected, and were seen in the city, walking around in the town. And Muslims like to call this the zombie apocalypse, and like to mock it and say, oh, look, the dead came out of their graves, they were walking around. And I thought, that's very curious that they would mock the resurrecting of the dead, seeing that I read a narrative in the hadiths and other narrations from Muslim scholars that seem to clearly say that the parents of Muhammad were resurrected from the dead and took shahada. And so I thought, well, this is a good way to silence that argument, because we always have to remember that for every mockery, every argument, every attack that the Muslims throw at Christianity, there seems to always be something that can be thrown back at them, because they're very inconsistent.
Okay. Do I remember correctly? You are talking about Matthew chapter 27?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll read it from verse 51 onwards, and then so people know what we are talking about. It will be beneficial for them to know that can be used as a debunking Muslim objections to this verse. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook and the rocks were split. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. So I think the relevant part is verse 52 to 53, right?
Correct. And it is a debated, or it's not necessarily debated, but it's a narrative that has been questioned as far as, is it literal historical narrative, Did the people, the saints, literally come forth from the graves and walk around amongst the people, show themselves? Or is it just a combination, kind of like a parable that uses illustrations? Or is it just symbolic or apocalyptic in nature, like the book of Revelation? It's in the original, it's called apocalyptos, the apocalypse, meaning it's catastrophic, it's hyperbole, exaggeration. And so that's all used for illustrations and for metaphors, and it's symbolic. So that has been gone back and forth with amongst the Christians. But the problem that's not what's in question here, because we do, as Christians, recognize that Jesus Christ has the power over death, hell, and the grave. And he has resurrected others like Lazarus. He rose himself from the dead. He is the author of life, and the power of life and death are in his hands. And so there's no question about the power of Jesus and his ministry influencing the living and the dead. And so that's not an issue for us. What I'm dealing with here is the hypocrisy of the Muslims when they mock the narrative, be it historical or allegorical. It's a mockery that I'm trying to deal with.
So Muslims are using this verse to kind of make fun of it. Oh yeah, you've got these zombies are coming out of the grave after with the story of crucifixion. It is just unbelievable. This is all like made up, those kind of issues. And you are going to kind of point out, actually, we do have some of stories in Islamic tradition talks about Muhammad's parents are becoming zombie. But if I read correctly, it was talking about like, if I remember correctly, I didn't read it, but we talked about it. You were pointing out it was just for short time they become zombie and then they went back to grave, right?
Yeah, it was a quick transition from the grave, take Shahada,
go back.
And then Allah sends them back the way they were brought up. So it paints a picture of a very strange narrative.
Okay.
Within
so
Islam.
Thank you for that intro. One of the practical thing I did was we love to, of course, in every discussions, we love to hear what Muslims are saying, how they are going to respond it. So therefore, I put the link in the chat and then I pinned it. I pinned it for people to call in and then make their arguments if they want to.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
yeah, I'm not going to kind of give you platform and then just like let Muslims to pull out their hair, right? We want to give them opportunity for them to tell us this lovely
to pull my hair, right? The little I have left, Hatun.
And those of you who are joining us in the chat, if you want to get my attention, kindly tag DCCI Ministries, and then that will come to my attention, hopefully. Brother, are you ready for me to pull up your PDF PowerPoints?
Yes, I am ready, and hopefully I can contain myself because I'm already it's not a laughing matter. This is very serious because we're dealing with
I love your serious face. Looks like really, really very joyful.
Okay, this is my serious I don't have a serious face. Okay, yeah, I'm ready. If everybody's hang on to your seats and let's get into some of the narratives. But we'll start clearly with are you using the file, the PDF or the Keynote format?
I was gonna do the PDF. Are they different from one another?
No, that's fine.
If they are not different, why would you ask?
Well, because I want to know if if they are numbered the same, because I'm going to be looking at my Keynote, and if it doesn't align with the PDF, that way I can let you know.
Okay, you made the adjustments in your key, but you didn't export in PDF. Do you prefer?
No, they're both the same. I just don't know if, as you're presenting it, it's numbered the same in PDF, and we'll find out. We'll see how it goes. We're always ready here, Hatun. Yep. Okay, that looks good. So
these PowerPoints, I just thought it was funny. These PowerPoints are titled as zombie shahada. It is
Yep.
so much disrespectful to Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, to identifying his family as a zombie, right?
Well, we're only using the Islamic terminology that they use when they reference the biblical accounts. So they should accept it with open arms and say, yes, this is a zombie shahada. So, yeah, so Muslims often mock the raising of the dead, as we read in the narrative in the Bible. There's other references. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. There's other references in the Bible concerning the resurrection of the dead. Like I said, we have the young lady that was resurrected, the soldiers, or brought back from the life. She wasn't buried, but she was brought back from the dead. Then we have Lazarus, who was in the tomb, and it gives us a very awesome picture of Jesus's authority over death, that he can call, unlike the Roman Catholics or the Eastern Orthodox that speak to the dead or those that have departed and think they can speak to them and have some kind of influence back and forth. Jesus does, in fact, speak to those that have departed, because being God incarnate, he is omniscient, omnipresent in the Godhead. So by the Spirit and in his ontological being, what he is, which is God, he can't speak to those that are not immediately in his presence and speak to those that have departed from this life. And so he can call to Lazarus, and wherever the soul of Lazarus was, Abraham's bosom, in heaven, in Sheol, Hades, the abode of the dead, wherever he was, his immaterial self, his spirit, Jesus was able to call him forth out of that and bring him back physically. Had him come back in his body and walk amongst us again. So that is the power of Jesus, something Muhammad and no false prophet has. They don't have the ability to do that because they're not God by nature. And God hasn't given that privilege to others the way Islam says that Allah gave it to Jesus by creating a clay bird, breathing life into it, and then making it fly like a real bird. That's not what the Bible teaches. By God's Spirit, miracles are done. When we look at miracles, for instance, miracles are God, the Spirit of God, working in us and through us to glorify himself. They are not supernatural powers that human beings have in and of themselves. So these so-called ministries of miracles and people that claim to be healers or whatnot and claim to have some kind of special powers, that's not biblical. That is not what the Bible teaches that we can and should be running around doing. So as we move along to the slide number 4 here, Muhammad's family and tribe in hell.
Just a second, brother.
Yes.
Let's do this as a teamwork, right?
Yes.
So while you pointed out that importance of worshiping one God, I noticed this comment in the chat. This Mr. Muhammad clearly looks like a Muslim, tells people to commit shirk and submit to Muhammad.
Well,
Dear Mr. Muslim, that is shirk. Allah is going to cook you in hell for very, 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 very long time. That's called eternity. So I'll gently encourage you to pull yourself together.
Don't we see that as a pattern, though, Hatun, where Allah asked the angels to bow down to prostrate before Adam? Then we also have...
Because Allah is calling human beings for shirk, I don't think human beings should have right to call other human beings for shirk. They can do better than Allah. I literally know some Muslims who is done much, much greater than Allah. So this Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Muslim, can do better. Can do better.
Right. One more reference is where Muhammad said that he is to be obeyed the way Allah is obeyed.
Yeah.
And that you have no say so in any matter of life unless you submit to him.
Yeah.
So it's a very, again, with Islam, you have contradictions. You have one statement telling you one thing, and then you turn around and they're telling you something else. There was no consistency, because Islam does not come from the mind or heart of a logical, consistent being. Wherever it came from the pit of Hades, or from Muhammad's own heart, from demons, wherever it came from, it's discombobulated. There is no consistency in that. So here we have Muslims often mock the raising of the dead in Matthew, as we've said, and then we have the narrative, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection and went into the holy city and appeared unto many. Muslims often refer to this as the zombie apocalypse, and if you look online, you'll see Muslims using this terminology as a means of mockery. But as with every other attack Muslims throw at Christianity, this also comes back to haunt them, pun intended. Consider the following accounts of Muhammad's parents. We'll look at some of these narratives. But what many Muslims, the slide is out of place. But what many Muslims don't realize is that many Islamic sources say both Muhammad's tribe and parents were pagans and went to the hellfire. So let's take a look at some of these narratives.
Okay, just give me a second. I need to do some adjustment. It's
Yep.
not that you've got terrible admin skills, but there are some other things happening on this side. So can I just get quick confirmation if people are able to see this slide? Those of you who are joining us in the chat. I'm going to just wait to see if people are able to see the slide.
Oh, I think I can check that. I can see it. Yep, on the YouTube.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for confirmation. By the time Brother Truth Defender stepped in, I already got people in the chat confirmed. Yes, brother. Yes, Muhammad's family. I'm in slide number 6. Muhammad's family and tribe is in hell.
Yes. Sorry about that. 1 second. I'm getting a call from work.
You can't get a call from work.
People don't realize I'm a busy man, Hatun. Okay.
Well, if you were a busy man, you wouldn't wake up an hour ago, brother. You know that. When people are busy, they wake up early.
Okay, so Muhammad's family.
Guardian, I don't know how to do that. I'm looking at it, but I don't know. I don't use this thing. So people want me to remove this side.
Oh, if you hit play up on the top left of center, it says play. Go to the center and then just slightly to the left.
Oh yeah, this one?
Yeah, try that.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
What happened?
Well, it made the whole screen the slide. It doesn't have the columns.
Okay, so sorry, I don't know how to do that. You just say, okay, Hatun doesn't know, let's just be gracious to her. Okay, brother, go ahead.
Okay, so Islamic accounts make it clear that Muhammad's parents were pagan and died pagans. Therefore, according to Islam, they would be cast into hellfire by Allah. It's very clear all through the Islamic narratives. Doesn't matter where you go to their books, their websites, their commentaries, their lectures. Pagans are not guaranteed paradise. They are not going to make it. Allah is very intolerant. He doesn't tolerate shirk. He doesn't tolerate paganism. He's very mean about it. He doesn't give you, in fact, if you know who Allah is and you associate a partner with Allah, supposedly there's no forgiveness for that. That's like an unforgivable sin in Islam. But
I want to comment on that. I don't see there is any problem. I don't see there is any problem that God doesn't want to share his glory with someone else. I don't see there is any problem that he's the one who wants to be worshipped alone, right? He doesn't want to compromise. He doesn't want people to have hearts in many different forms or different ways. He wants people to give full of their heart to him.
correct.
But
Well,
when
no,
there is a pagan or atheist or whatever group they are, when they repent and turn to him, doesn't matter what their background is, they are forgiven once for all.
Yeah, but he kind of likes his Habibi Muhammad, and he wants people to give their heart to Muhammad as well. It's almost like they're equals, like they're one and the same. Because he said, "If you love me,
Oh,
you'll
you
love the
follow Muhammad.
messenger."
Yeah.
So yeah, Habibi Muhammad is somebody that Allah wants you to love and to respect and emulate.
Or full
Um,
submission.
full submission, no
Yeah.
questions. Yeah. So from the website islamweb.com, it says this. First of all, you should know that it is established in the Quran and the Sunnah that only the believers will enter paradise, and that Allah has forbidden paradise to those who die as polytheists. Very clear. This is islam.com,
Okay. So,
islamweb.com.
so those believers will enter the paradise after, not as their first destination, but as their last destination, right? So they will suffer for the sins they have, and then Allah is passing the sins of Muslims to the Christians and then Jews, and then taking them to paradise. So it is not their first direction or their first stop, first and last stop, but it is their last stop according to Islamic tradition, unless you are Mr. Jihadi.
Correct. Then you go straight under the throne of Allah in a green bird's body, flying around, just flapping your wings, waiting to see what the next step is. That's one narration, anyways. That the jihadis the martyrs will go into the bodies of green birds and fly around the throne of Allah, just buzzing around like parakeets. Allah says, what means, indeed, he who associates others with Allah, Allah has forbidden him paradise, and his refuge is the fire. So here we have it clearly stated. Remember the time of ignorance within Islam before Muhammad came with his revelation. That whole period is considered a time of ignorance. So we have to ask the question, well, then that would include his tribe, his family members. And there are Muslims that will make exceptions for the family members of Muhammad and say, well, there was some light. They had the religion of Abraham, and they could believe in that, and that would be reckoned to them as enough of a faith that they can believe in to avoid being included as those of the time of ignorance. But that's another time. So the next slide we can see, we're going to go through and just look at the narrations. And again, this is simply, folks, so that when the Muslims mock the resurrection of the dead, as they often do, you can just bring this to their attention. There are several views on the destiny of Muhammad's parents. Again, we have to always remember there are multiple views for any one position within Islam. So be ready for the objections or for the references to those that contradict what we're going to present here. The question is, how are they going to reconcile these things? Scholars say that the Prophet's parents are in hellfire. These are the scholars that believe that Muhammad's parents did go to hell. Abu Hanifa, Al-Bayhaqi, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Kathir. That's a familiar name to most people on here. One of the top Islamic commentaries on the Quran by Ibn Kathir. He held this view. And Mullah Ali bin Sultan claimed consensus on this opinion. So here we have these scholars, Islamic respected scholars, that believe, yes, Muhammad's parents did in fact go to the hellfire. Scholars don't hold any judgment on this matter, and this is again, this is from their websites. Don't hold any judgment on this matter and leave it undecided without judging the Prophet's parents to heaven and hell. So right away, we see a contradiction with the narrative. We're given the names of scholars that believe Muhammad's parents went to hell, and then we're being told immediately after that scholars don't hold an opinion on it. They just leave it up in the air. So these are the scholars that hold that opinion. I didn't highlight them because we're not concerned with them right now. We want people to understand that there are Muslim scholars, respected Muslim scholars, that hold to this opinion. Next slide, please. I believe it is next one after that. Yep. So scholars say that the Muhammad's parents are in heaven. So this is some of the scholars who will believe that. So here I give their names. And then there are some of them inferred this because the parents died before the message of Muhammad. And this is what I was talking about. Some of the scholars will believe that since they died before the message was given, they had the religion of Abraham, and that was enough to save them. So these are just different opinions.
So Al-Jazari, Suyuti, Khatami, Ghazali, those are like well-known names for those of us like who engage with Muslims. So they hold the view that Muhammad's parents are in heaven.
Right. And then some of them inferred this because the parents died before the message of Muhammad and the invitation did not reach them. And others inferred that they were on the religion of Abraham. It is monotheism. And then others say that Allah revived them from death for Muhammad at the end of his life, and they embraced Islam. This is what we're going to be dealing with, the resurrection of Muhammad's parents. In the Quran, we see here, chapter 9, verse 113 of the Quran, it is not proper for the prophet and those who believe in Allah and those who believe to ask Allah's forgiveness for the mushrikun, the polytheists, idolaters, pagan, disbelievers in the oneness of Allah. This in the brackets is in some Quran copies as a help to tell you who these people that commit shirk or who are polytheists are. These are the people that Muhammad is not allowed to intercede for or ask forgiveness for. Even though they be of kin. Now, here in America, in the East Coast and the Central America, they use the term kinfolk. And your kinfolk are basically your relatives. So here they're using this terminology. Even though they be of kin, meaning they are of your lineage, of your family. They are part of your bloodline. After it has become clear to them that they are the dwellers of the fire because they died in a state of disbelief. I don't know if Islam has a third place for those who depart this life. There's only heaven or paradise or the hellfire. I know there's an intermediary stage for infants, or not for infants, but for those who die temporarily. They're kind of wandering around and then they end up somewhere. It's almost even like Eastern Orthodoxy. They have this crazy view of the soul departing the body, and then you have a certain amount of days before the soul gets to its destination. So it just kind of meanders around. It's not biblical view. But within Islam, you have the hellfire or you have the paradise. So if that is the case, anyone who dies in polytheism, it is obvious, it is very logical to conclude that they went to the hellfire. So I don't know why we need a qualifier to tell us once it has become clear.
But don't we have already a hadith talking about Muhammad's parents were in hell?
Well,
Muhammad's father. Like, why do we need Muslim scholars to step in and then try to rewrite this or try to unpack this so hadith is not clear enough?
Hatun, the Quran is not clear enough.
Well, Quran is not clear enough, therefore we've got the tafsir, and then nothing is clear enough, therefore we've got the hadith. So I guess like still we need Muslim scholars to make things clear, but they're not doing a very good job.
Correct. Then we need clarification on the clarification sometimes because the clear explanations apparently are not clear enough.
Okay, so we've got one view tells us Muhammad's parents, because they didn't hear the message, that they didn't become a Muslim, they are in hell, or there was no time for them to become a Muslim because Allah decided he's gonna make Muhammad prophet much later after his family died. And then other view is held by Suyuti and Ghazali, all that names, that Muhammad's parents are in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Then what is the next slide following? So, okay, we read that one, that even if they are your kinfolk, you don't ask for their forgiveness. Anas said, a man asked, where is my father? So he's coming around. This is a man whose father had passed away. And he goes to Muhammad and says, where's my father, messenger of Allah? He replied, your father is in hell. Pretty straightforward. No wishy-washy. He just, your father's in hell. When he turned back, he said, my father and your father are in hell. And so it was a clear cut narration here. A man asked, where is my father, messenger of Allah? He replied, your father is in hell. And then apparently it seems like he's walking away. Then he turns back and he said, my father and your father are in hell. This is Muhammad saying this. This is Sahih by Albani. It's Sunan Abi Dawud.
So according to Muhammad, his father is in hell.
Yep, along with the father of Anas.
Good.
From
And then Muhammad goes, and then
Okay.
Muhammad goes and then meets with his family.
Yeah. Islam.net again, here we have an Islamic website. And hadith, this is a hadith about reviving the prophet's parents to believe in him. So now we're getting into the spooky. We should do this during
Now we are getting
Halloween.
the zombie part of it. So Muhammad
Yeah.
said, my father is in hell. One group of scholars said, no, his family is in paradise. Other group said, no, his family is in hell. And then we get to look into tradition and then see what people were talking about, right? Because think about it. Anyway, we will come to that probably. You've got like lots of great opportunity to figure out lots of things. So this is the zombie story, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So here we have, I'm trying to bring it up from my end. Okay.
And let me just point out again in case people forget. So this is coming to us from islamweb.net.
Correct.
Muslim website. Written by Muslims, mainly for Muslims.
Yes. Intended to educate the Muslims on their religion and on the history of their Muhammad and his life. And so, yeah, this is Islamic learning here. And it says, hadith about reviving the prophets, the parents to believe in him, the prophet's parents to believe in him. And remember, I just take this from the website and I put it here for the sake of presentation and highlighting things. Aisha narrated, the prophet was standing in a very grieved state in Hajun, where the mother's grave was. So a very grieved state means he was very depressed. He was crying.
Okay, brother, come to the basics. Comes to the
Well-
basics. I don't need your emotions right now. I want to see the part where they are zombies.
Well, it's an emotional
you can
thing.
add
I'm
your-
almost
you can-
breathing here.
You can add your commentaries, your tafsir as it goes on.
You have to be sensitive to these things, Hatun. This is a very serious matter. And
Come
approach it with full, sensitivity here. So the prophet was standing in a very grieved state in Hajun, where his mother's grave was. He stood there for a while and returned to me in a very happy state. Wait a minute. So he went from crying, like, grieving, very sorrowful, to now he's jumping, doing cartwheels. He's happy. Something happened, Hatun. I wonder what that was. Because you don't go from.
It looks like Aisha wondered as well.
She probably did. And then he said, I asked my Lord, and he revived my mother. She was sent back after she believed in me. And here we have a follow-up narration to where they're getting this reference from. So wait a minute. Didn't we just read in the Quran that you do not ask for forgiveness? Let's go back up really quick to Surah, to the Quranic verse.
Surah 9.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we read that correctly.
It is not proper for prophet and those who believe to ask Allah's forgiveness for mushrikeen, even though they be of kin, after it has become clear to them that they were dwellers of the hell.
So why would Muhammad be grieving? Unless
Okay,
it was
I've got-
clear to him that his
I've got other questions.
okay, let's
Now,
have 'em.
So I watched a movie called Walking Dead. Dead Walking or something, Walking Dead. It's zombie movie.
Yeah, The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like these deads are living. So Muhammad is upset. Why? So at this stage, Muhammad is easily in his 50s, right? He's already married to Aisha. After 50 years, he's turning up his mother's grave. Options are, Mommy, everyone is talking about my father left 4 years before I was born. I need to give people some explanation, Mommy. Please, Mommy, talk to me from the grave. Give me some comfort. My wives are not good enough. And then he's grieving after he find the grave. Okay. Of course, Aisha, as very sportive child wife, is so upset that her husband is very much upset, right? And then when the husband comes back after a little bit while, husband is very happy. This curious child asks, husband, what happened? And then he says, well, I ask Allah, I talk to Allah time to time. I ask Allah and Allah brought my mother back from the grave. And then she took her shahada and then she went back to grave. So while she came, so here's the practical questions. It is the Muslims who are going to get grave punishment, right? Angels are hammering them again and again.
But why do they hammer them, Hatun?
Well, we come to that. So at this stage, Muhammad's mother is okay because she wasn't Muslim. So she was just like probably simply just like laying in the grave. Of course, you might be thinking easily.
Well, maybe she was wrapped, right? Like the grub, the cocoon. You know how they
with the white thing.
Yeah, before they become a butterfly, they get wrapped like a burrito.
Well, okay, let me just figure this out. So she's quite peaceful in the graveyard. Okay, 50 years, probably her flesh is still perfect, right?
Well,
because like in Islam,
50 years, my flesh is not perfect, even in this life, Hatun.
Brother, you're not Muhammad's mother. Okay,
that's true. I'm not his mother.
This woman gets out of the grave. She was in very peaceful mood. She comes to planet Earth, and then Muhammad is able to identify his mother. So that means like probably she had like nice nails, eyes, all those kind of things, right? Like she could be recognized. Why not? And then,
well, unless if he's at the proper grave, Hatun, unless they rent out their grave and they let somebody else in, it would have to be the mother.
So she comes back, Muhammad recognizes her, and then she takes shahada, and then Muhammad sent her back.
Yeah.
So she was in very peaceful mood in grave. Now, thanks to Muhammad,
but hold on, Hatun,
she's gonna get hammered in the grave.
Hold on, because I'm thinking how rude of Muhammad. He did not even give her time for tea or chit chat, as you'd like to say. He just straight away he sent her back. Didn't say, how's it going, Ma? How, what have you been up to? No small talk, just boom, believe, okay, back you go, straight away.
It's not only that, like, Mommy, who is my daddy? Not
that
even
would have been a very good
even
question.
not that conversation, right? Think about it.
It should have been priority to ask before he sent her back.
Brother Phil, we are looking at the Islamic sources. Asking logical questions doesn't help Islam.
Oh, So it could have been auntie or some, he
No,
got the wrong one.
only reason Muhammad could say this is my mother, if she came back with how old was Muhammad when she died? She came back in full, exactly the same, like with perfect flesh, right? Nothing, none of the bones, skeleton is there. So she's perfect, fully flesh formed. I was gonna point out something. I thought it was funny. Think about it. Lord Jesus Christ brings Lazarus back, okay, from the dead. And then what happens? John chapter 12. People wants to murder him because Lazarus is walking around. He's eating, he's doing like human things. And then you got tradition talks about it like he never smiled stuff. But like what we read from the scripture is he's coming, Lord Jesus Christ brought him back to life. He's walking, talking, eating, breathing out and breathing in. And he's doing that for a while. But in here, Muhammad's mother comes. No one sees that. That's one point. Second point is, first thing he does is sending her back to go through all that pain in grave punishment. I don't see any kindness in this.
No, like I said, very rude, very not a good son.
Like imagine like a son didn't even introduce his wives to his mother. That's sad, right?
That's a very good thing. I wonder how the mother would have reacted. You know, mother-in-laws are could be mean.
Yeah, or like maybe she wanted to meet her, but like Muhammad didn't want her to feel shame, so he didn't even introduce.
Yeah.
Anyway, on a serious note,
Yeah,
while
so
Quran says
you're
you
right.
cannot ask forgiveness for the dead one, Muhammad steps in and then Allah kind of come alongside of Muhammad, according to this story, that Muhammad's mother out of the grave takes the shahada and then goes back.
Yeah, and remember the question of how old he was. 6 years old supposedly when she passed away, so that is a long time to be in the grave.
50 years, like
Yeah.
approximate 50 years.
Correct.
So like you never, like none of the animals come and then eat you. Your flesh doesn't go away, like you are just like in awesome form.
Yeah, pristine.
Otherwise how you are going to be recognized?
Maybe she had a holy moly like him, an identifying feature. His mole had to come from somewhere. Usually it's inherited. The mother or the father has the similar defect and it transferred over to him. So
yeah, you can think whatever you want to think, brother, but lots of things is very creepy right now.
that's true.
And this information, just wanted to point out again, is coming to us from islamweb.net.
Yeah. So
Aisha narrated, Prophet asked his Lord to revive his mother and father. He revived them, and then they both believed in him. Then they were returned to their previous state. Quick question, brother, regarding the second part. So in the first part, it's the mother, and then in second part, it's the mother and father.
yeah, apparently the first narrator didn't pay any attention to the father.
So how did they figure out who was his father? How did they recognize? How did Muhammad recognize his father?
Well, if he resembled him like a crow resembles a crow, the way Muhammad said you could test who the father is of a child, maybe he looked like Muhammad. Maybe they said,
maybe he did DNA test, or maybe like while mother and father were together, Muhammad asked, okay, remember the hadith, it's like, well, I don't know how to put this nicely, but there is a hadith like, how do you know child is going to look like mother or father? In that
well,
hadith?
that did cross my mind. I didn't want to say it either, but
yeah, okay.
we think alike here.
Okay, those of you uh,
He could
so
have
there is a-
asked and said, which one of you was happy first?
yeah,
And
okay, got the point.
and
You
that
got the
would have
point.
determined which, if it was yeah, if he looked like him.
Yeah, so
So
option might be Mohammed simply asked the question and then they figured out, or I don't know, like think about it. Your husband died 4 years before you give birth, and then you have a baby now, and then it's been 6 years after you give birth to your baby. So altogether, last time when you saw your husband was minimum 10 years, right? So when you first see your husband after 10 years, what would you discuss? Is this my son or not? That would be probably the first question.
how did they get them both in the same grave? Because if the papa,
Don't ask questions, brother. Just this is what it is. It happens. It's Islam.
wow, a lot of questions. I mean, this is like a mystery case.
So they they must, yeah, they must like, okay, we know where we buried him after 4 years. Let's find the graveyard for no, after 10 years. Let's find graveyard for mommy and then put the mommy there.
Yeah, throw the other one in so they can have company. Don't want to be lonely in the grave.
Brother Hussein is in the chat. He says
Hey,
he could not have done DNA test because Mormon church did not exist yet.
yeah, for those that don't know, the Mormons are very much into DNA. They have the most sophisticated DNA research and family tree because they believe in baptizing for the dead. They make their dead Mormons. Even if you died rejecting Mormonism, you're going to be a Mormon one way or the other if they want you to. So they baptize by proxy. Somebody baptizes in your behalf and you become a Mormon in the grave. So
it must be like very short conversation between Muhammad and his father and his mother to invite them to Islam.
yeah, you would think, okay, boom, here comes from the dead, your parents, you're like, take Shahada. Okay, bye.
Because
Wow.
I should say it's like he was he was in the state of bereavement, and then he stood there for a while. So should be much faster conversation than today's
Now-
dawah are taking.
Hatun, I have another question. Don't they put dirt on top of you when you get in the hole? And then,
Yeah.
so did they claw their way out? And then, or how did they get out?
So in the British Museum, it shows that when people died, they were buried with pots, with stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am guessing when Muhammad's mother died, she was more practical. She got probably large spoon that she would spoon herself up of the graveyard. I don't know. Maybe his father had a like, what is this thing like you break the wall?
pick.
Whatever that thing is like, the thing you break the wall. Maybe
Yeah.
he got that one and then he kind of made his way up. I guess
Wow.
other question is like, did they start breathing under earth, or they start breathing over earth? Because like when someone puts your when someone like fills your face up with lots of earth, it's practically very, very difficult to breathe, and then you can't breathe after like long suffering, and then you go. But
That's a great point. I just saw a video last night of these kids. They dug a hole in the beach in the sand, and then they dug sideways, and then one kid stayed there digging. The other ones went into the water. Well, everything collapsed on him, so he was buried under like 7 feet of sand for about 30 minutes. They can't understand how he survived, but he survived, but just barely. So yeah, you're right. You get buried in sand, all that weight, that compression, the suffocation, you're going to have troubles.
well,
Yeah.
Anyway, a short answer to your question. Probably they took stuff with them and then they were buried with this stuff. But still, that doesn't answer the question, right? Like how their flesh, like how they were recognized after 50 years?
Right. Yeah, good question. So next slide, we see.
No, you need to make a comment on, are you
Oh.
going to make a comment what scholars thought about this while Islam web is like kind of
Yeah.
advertising these teachings?
So a hadith about which the scholars differed in opinion as to whether it is authentic or not. So here's the question: is it an authentic narration or not? So Al-Qurtubi, Al-Suyuti, and others said that it is authentic.
Even Qurtubi thinks this is authentic.
Even Qurtubi.
Suyuti, those giant names of Muslims. Yep.
Yeah.
Muhammad brought that back to planet Earth and then sent them back to that. He didn't even let them enjoy 50 years change in the world. But anyway, that's not my business.
Yeah. However, the most prominent scholars of hadith classified it as weak. Now, weak, again, in Islamic, in the science of hadith, da'if does not mean false, fabricated, inauthentic, not true. It just means weak in the sense of the chain of narration. But we see multiple attestations here, different references, which even if it is da'if, the multiplicity of attestation of references elevate it from weak to basically the level of hadith, of sahih. So it is not weak. It's actually a strong narration because multiple references speak about it. And many of them rule that it is fabricated. Notice the many are not mentioned. Who are the many that think it's fabricated? We have the known and respected scholars that believe in it. Well, who are the ones that contradict these scholars? So Ibn Kathir said,
even those, let's say, sake of the argument, scholars disagreeing with one another, right? That's still like, it goes with like which scholar you choose to believe, why. And Qurtubi and Suyuti is like good names when it comes to lots of things. Ibn Taymiyyah is a good thing when it comes to certain things. So people can simply pick and choose whom they believe, why they believe.
Right. So now we're going to see, we do have some scholars that we can fight against each other or pit against one another. So Ibn Kathir said in his tafsir, the hadith about reviving the parents of the Prophet is not reported in any of the 6 books of the Sunan, nor in any other book, and its isnad, chain of narration, is weak. Remember, the chain of narration being weak doesn't mean it's a false or a fabrication. That's the misunderstanding amongst people. So among the scholars who decisively stated that the hadith is fabricated are Ibn al-Jawzi, Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah, and others. So why are they saying it's weak? Well, because they're saying the chain of narration is weak, or because they don't like the picture it paints. But now you have to ask, well, why did Al-Qurtubi, As-Suyuti, and others say it was authentic? Because before the science of hadith came around, you accepted the narrations from your scholars, your prophets, the companions. All of these narrations were without question universally held. So later comes the science of hadith, and some scholars of hadith that don't like the way something sounds categorize it or find some excuse to lessen its credibility, its authenticity. And that's what we seem to have here, is they just didn't like the way that sounded. It's problematic. So they give it a weak status. But again, weak or da'if in Islamic scholarship within the science of hadith does not mean false. It does not mean fabricated.
Or it does not mean it didn't happen.
It does not mean it didn't happen. Now, we want to get a full picture of what really we think really happened and what the situation might have looked like. Obviously, we didn't have the iPhone and we couldn't take a picture of the time. There was no camera. They couldn't film it. But we can illustrate things. And illustrations, somebody said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's take a look at what possibly could have been the scenario of Muhammad in the next slide. Oh, there it is. So I can imagine how Muhammad, with his green headscarf, would have been, he's sitting there, he's grieving, and then he prays to Allah, contrary to what Allah had already told him in the Quran not to do. Muhammad does it anyway. Allah, being a good, obedient deity, honors Muhammad's request, brings forth the parents. They jump out in the state that they were in. They take the Shahada, and then they get sent right back to the grave in a very rude manner.
So, can I ask practical questions? Why did you put witnesses here? I used this picture for my thumbnail, but you put witnesses here. There were no eyewitnesses, point number one. Point number two. Do you think like mom and dad objected that they didn't want to go to grave? Like, because the sky you put it is like beautiful moon, and then I can see like the things gives me the impression they are the stars. So they didn't want to enjoy the star, and then it happened at night. And it happened like in the middle of desert with the, look at this one, with the water bottle.
I saw that at the last minute, Atun. These things generate whatever they want. I was like, is he going to recycle that? Or where did he get a water bottle from? I can't believe you pointed that out. I missed it. I thought nobody would notice. Okay, so I'm busted. You're right. There was no witnesses, and there shouldn't be any plastic bottles.
Which app did you use to make this?
It's called Gemini.
Oh, okay. Adam Sika used that one as well. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I covered two of them. You won't be able to tell because there was two more water bottles next to the parents.
Okay.
And I thought, why are there plastic water bottles here?
No, I can see there is something in here, right? But like, if you think about it, brother,
don't be so picky about it. This is
they just came from the grave, right? There was no water.
They were thirsty. 50
were
years with no water.
Yeah.
I mean, you're drinking your water
bottle. A couple of days after no water, they survived for 50 years, and it's amazing. Like their flesh looks very like they are visible, right? You can recognize them stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess she got the gray hair while she was in like graveyard, and
yeah, she's not wearing a veil, so that's shame on her.
Maybe Muhammad gave her one.
Well, yeah, because she wasn't a Muslima when she went in. So now coming out on the way back, she has to wear something. Yeah. So, well, you asked too much, Hatun. Whose inconsistency is part of Islam? I'm just being inconsistent here.
What is this green things on here?
You know what? I didn't pay attention to that many details.
Stars. When it happened, stars were fallen, and then this is the glimpse of it.
Let me see.
One of the like most disturbing thing about these images is like it looks like it's taking place in the desert, right?
Well, where would it be?
Well, it just reminds people different things, brother. Some things start with Z.
It just went over my head.
Zut.
Oh. Oh boy,
like, is it in the same area? Anyway, okay, let's focus. This is just image made by what was it, Gemini or something, that smart apps.
Yeah,
we are grateful for that.
Yeah, so we can go to skip that one and let's go to the next slide. Again, we have from Islam.net. Allah is not asked about what he does, as he says what he means. He is not questioned about what he does, but they will be questioned. Well, if Allah is not questioned, he has already stated, don't ask me about those that have died as polytheists. They're in the hellfire. But Muhammad contradicts that. which is very convenient for Muhammad. He's always getting things that the average Muslim doesn't get, always able to contradict his Allah. And there is no question, Allah is very pleased to serve his Muhammad, even as Aisha said, how quick Allah is to rush to satisfy you, basically. Ibn Jarir at-Tabari said, no one should question the Lord of the mighty throne about what he does with his creation. If Allah had already dealt with the parents and gave them their rightful punishment, why is Muhammad questioning that? Accept the will of Allah. Leave it alone. Don't interfere. Don't.
He become upset after 50 years.
Yeah, well, that's his business. Don't question Allah. Allah has already told you what happened and where they went, and there's no reason to go beyond that. Some Muslims reject the accounts. Others are indecisive about their credibility, while others do deny them. But that is for them to debate. It's not our business to settle the issues for the Muslims. We're presenting the narratives. This is what the Quran says. This is what the Hadith say. Here's what the commentaries say. Let the Muslims deal with their own issues in-house. What they can't be doing is objecting to our presentation of the narratives because they don't like what they hear. Somebody once said, if you did not want to be quoted, you shouldn't have said it. That's simple enough. If they didn't want us to read it, they didn't want us to reference it, they should have wrote it down.
Or they wouldn't put it on the website, right?
Or they wouldn't put it on the website. If it's on the
book, there is a possibility that less people will read it. But if it's on the website, there's a possibility that it's going to reach to many people.
Yeah. So, Hadith have never indicated that died. Okay, if we go to that slide right there, there is no Sahih Hadith. Which one is it? 816? Yeah. Right there.
There is no Sahih Hadith which says that Allah brought the parents of the Prophet back to life. So now you are telling me Muhammad is a liar?
Right. Rather,
is liar, one of them.
Well, we know he's like a Pinocchio. The nose grows. Rather, the Sahih Ahadith that have been narrated indicate that they died in Kufr and that they are among the people of hell. My goodness. So from the website, Islam Questions and Answers, a website that gives Muslims fatwas, judicial edicts, rulings on Islamic law by Muslim scholars. This is what these websites do. They give the Muslims answers to questions in the form of what's called a fatwa, or a scholarly commentary with references usually to different sources. So in this website, Islam Questions and Answers, they are saying that Muhammad's parents died in kufr and that they are among the people of hell. This is a dilemma for them, because if somebody denies the resurrection of the parents, a Muslim.
I don't think that's a resurrection, right? It's just
you're right.
Zombieing.
Yeah, it's more of a resuscitation. Resuscitation would mean they weren't truly dead. It's a zombie.
Zombieing. Let's call it zombieing.
Yeah. If you reject the zombieing of the parents, well, now you leave them in hellfire. Because there's no question about it, they died in unbelief, unless you take the position of the Muslims that say, well, they had the religion of Abraham they could have appealed to. But there's nothing to tell us that what the Muslims knew about Abraham at the time in 7th century Arabia was sufficient to give them the gospel. As far as, well, now I'm going towards Christianity, sufficient to give them Islam. Let me change that. So that they would have died as Muslims. That wouldn't have been the case.
And then, of course, you've got traditions that Muhammad cannot even pray for his relatives, right? They are in hell. You brought up the tradition as well, where Muhammad says, my father is in hell with your father. So it's just like Muslim scholars are trying to kind of bring up their own views, but the question is why, I guess.
Yeah. So we have issues, folks. We have the Quran's clear command, because Allah is saying it. Don't intercede. Don't ask me about those that have died in disbelief, in kufr, in polytheism, in in idolatry. If they've died and gone to the hellfire, leave it alone. Case closed. They're done. Muhammad contradicts that. He does request for his parents. Supposedly, according to the narrative, Allah brings back the parents. They profess faith in Muhammad, so they do their zombie shahada, and then they're sent back straight away. No chit chat, no tea, no questions about the papa. It's just, okay, you believe, thank you, down you go, right back.
I don't think he said thank you.
You're right. He might have even gave a push. Let's go.
Yes,
Time to move on. So you never know. With Muhammad, anything's possible. You can't put it past him. So then we have the scholars being confused about what really took place. Did it happen? Did it not happen? Is it credible? Is it not credible? Their issues. What we do know is that some scholars clearly believe, some websites clearly post that Muhammad's parents were brought back in a zombie form.
They were zombied and then they went back.
They were zombied and then they were thrown back in the state that they were, which means they weren't brought back, nice and healthy and plump. It was the state that they were in. That's what it says. Whatever that means, I'm thinking it's in the zombie state. So down they went, took back their nap. So if we go to the next slide, we just see another depiction of what could that. This is just, I'm taking artistic liberty to my imagination. What would they have looked like? Many possibilities. Maybe a little healthier than the previous picture. They could have.
They might be like eating and drinking. They've been looking after themselves, making sure they've got cream and makeup, all those kind of things in the grave. Yeah, good call, brother. Very good call.
Yeah, and then the next slide, we see that the parents were not the only ones that Allah brought back, because again, we're dealing with the mockery of the resurrection of the dead from a biblical perspective that the Muslims like to deal with, and they like to mock. Well, what other accounts do we have within Islam that there was a resurrection of dead people prior to the final day where they're resurrected? Well, another account of Allah bringing a person back from the dead with a piece of cow turns the mockery back on the religion of the Muslims. Dr. Robert Morey always would tell us, don't use arguments that can be turned back on you. So I learned to try not to use arguments that can be turned back on me. But the Muslims haven't learned this lesson. They like to make stupid arguments, not realizing they have the same issue. They have a worse situation. It can always be turned back on them. So here in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 72 through 73, we have a narrative. And remember, when you killed a man and fell into dispute among yourselves as to the crime, but Allah brought forth that which you were hiding. So we said, strike him, meaning the dead man, with a piece of it. Well, a piece of what? Well, the narrators say it was a piece of cow. Thus Allah brings the dead to life and shows you his ayat, his proofs, evidences, verses, such and so forth, so that you may understand. So apparently, according to this narration, these people killed a man. They were arguing amongst themselves about the crime. And then Allah brought forth a situation in which he said, take that piece of cow and strike the body. And hitting a man with a piece of cow resurrected the man, or zombied the men out of the dead. What do you think about that, Hatun?
Um,
Have you
like,
ever struck a body with a piece of cow or
like
lamb or chicken leg?
I want to take my shahada. I want to use the opportunity to take my shahada. No, I didn't, brother. I don't walk around with like piece of animals in my pocket.
Okay, well, let's see what Ibn Kathir has said on this on the next slide. So narrating on this Quranic verse, Ibn Kathir said, and he quotes the Quran, so we said, strike him, the dead man, with a piece of it, the cow, meaning any part of the cow will produce the miracle. If they struck the dead man with it, so you could take the leg, you could take an ear, the tongue, the foot or hoof. We don't call it a foot.
The kidney, anything.
Yeah, anything. Take the tail, give it a whip. I mean, take your pick, whatever's handy, you can take it and start whipping the dead.
So this cow is the one who does the miracle, brings dead to life, makes dead to zombie.
So, so this is a miracle cow.
Huh.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just one cow or any cow will do.
It is say the cow. So everyone know which cow this one was.
Okay.
So it's not like go and get ribeye stuff. No.
Now, is this cow already dead, or is it as he's walking, they take a piece? Let me borrow your leg. Let me borrow your tail. Because the poor cow, I mean, if it's dead, then you have a limited time before the cow becomes a zombie.
So Ibn Kathir says any part of the cow will produce the miracle. If they strike the dead man with it, we were not told which part of the cow they use, as this method does not benefit us either in matters of life or religion. Otherwise, Allah would have made it clear for us. Instead, Allah made this method vague. So this is why we should leave it vague. Allah's statement.
In other words,
Allah brings.
Don't ask. Just leave it alone. Don't ask for details. Is what he's saying.
Allah didn't want you to know, so just leave it there. They strike him with it, and he come back to life. This ayah demonstrates Allah's ability to bring the dead back to life, or cows. I'm not sure if this is Allah's, but Allah made this incident prove against the Jews that the resurrection shall occur, and ended their disputing and stubbornness over the dead person.
Well, didn't the resurrection of the dead in the biblical narrative predate Muhammad's cow? Why do we need a cow for proof when we already have the biblical narratives that the dead will rise?
Well, or why Allah needs why Allah does need a cow? Can Allah can't do by himself?
Moo. Yeah, why not a goat, or why not? So the goat was used for the murder with Muhammad, the poison, or was it a sheep? See, this is very interesting with these animals. One animal ate the Quran, another animal poisoned Muhammad and unalived him, and then another animal does a miracle and brings back the undead or the dead and makes them undead. So Allah in his farm.
It makes sense to me why people want to become a Muslim, you know. They need stories to tell their kid, to scare the kid to go to bed on time, eat their vegetables, all those kind of things.
Yeah. So we see that Muslims mocking the raising of the dead mentioned in the Bible, Matthew 27:52 through 53, have to deal with Allah's zombies in Islamic narratives. They either stop the mockery or explain why Muhammad's zombie mama and papa are not as equally worthy of ridicule. They just have to be consistent. That's all we're asking.
Okay, so is this Muhammad's mother and father supposed to be?
Well, yeah.
So why, like, they have an orange beard once they go to Hajj. So he shouldn't have orange beard.
You're
And
right.
it looks like mother is wearing like 1600s or 1800s hat, right?
Yeah. Hatun, leave it vague. Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah, just leave it vague. Don't worry about the details. Allah has left it like that on purpose so that it's not something we concern ourselves with.
Okay. I'm gonna pause here for a second. I've got someone in the backstage. So probably Muslim is gonna make their defense for this, right? Let me just adjust the screen. Hello. Hello. No, caller doesn't want to talk. Let's continue.
Okay.
Let's just continue. Okay.
And we have, okay, so Jabir reported, the messenger of Allah said, every servant will be resurrected upon the way they died. So then we have to question, how did Muhammad's parents die? In what state did they die? What about a jihadist that dies by separating all his parts through explosions? Is it going to be like a blob being resurrected?
Or like lots of holes. Someone,
Yeah,
like,
lots of holes.
they put like iron thing on their private part, so they might just have their private part in Islamic Jannah, and then the rest is in somewhere else.
Yeah, so I guess they're taking that very literal. So here we have in slide 22, Jesus creates life and brings to life the dead. I did mention earlier that according to the Islamic Quran, Isa, who is supposed to be Jesus, creates a clay bird, breathes into it life, and it flies away. So this question about bringing things to life, inanimate objects or dead things, is not foreign to Islam or the Quran. So again, when Muslims mock the resurrection of the dead that come out of their tombs, they are basically shooting themselves in the foot, because you have all these different narratives in Islam. So Muslims need to stop mocking the resurrection of the dead in the biblical narrative and consider that their own religion teaches similar things. So this is where it's tit for tat. You kill my dog, I kill your cat. If you're going to mock this, I'm going to turn and do likewise, because you have the same thing going on here. And this is not what's called the tu quoque fallacy, where somebody points something out on you and then you say, well, they do it also. No, that's in a different form of argumentation. I'm just simply saying it's hypocritical of the Muslims to mock the biblical narrative when they have zombie mama and papa, they have the cow miracle, they have the clay bird becoming alive. So all these things are in Islam. So Muslims, take a deep breath and understand, just relax and understand that you have some issues to settle in your religion before you go mocking others.
Let me take the call. I've got someone in the backstage. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Hello, sir. Who are you?
Am I audible?
I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Yeah. So the way of argumentation you're doing is just totally trash.
Sorry, who are you, sir?
Who are you? What do you mean by who I am?
Do you have a name?
I mean, my name is literally written there.
People don't see your name, sir. Lots of people call and then they don't use the name in their profile. Just be like, pull yourself together. Are you Muslim?
Okay, yes, I'm.
Okay,
Muslim.
Mr. Muslim with no name. What is your stand on whether Muhammad's parents came back to planet Earth and then took shahada and then go back to grave?
First of all, the arguments that you're presenting, that some Muslims mock the resurrection in Matthew, and then you use it to say that, oh, look, it's the same thing is happening over there. the big problem that you are running into is that if you say that resurrection, this must be mocked at all. So if the Prophet, peace be upon him, brought his parents back to life, you are actually giving a proof for his prophethood.
No, we never said Muhammad did it. Allah did it.
Anyways, whoever a prophet does by the help
I
of
guess they are
God.
different, right? It can't be anyway.
No, listen.
Does your prophet have right?
What do you
Does your prophet have power
listen?
to bring
Listen.
that back?
Listen. How does a prophet do a miracle?
Does your prophet has power to bring death to life?
Answer my question. How
You were
does a
using
prophet
that
do a
as your
miracle?
proof for Muhammad's prophethood. Now you don't have that. So now what do you have?
I am not the one who claimed it as a proof. I haven't even given my
You
argument.
You
said
said-
that's a proof.
I'm asking you a question.
Okay,
Listen.
uh,
I'm
yes,
asking
sir.
you a question. I'm asking you a question. How does a prophet do a miracle?
So, sir, I'm gonna ask you to pull yourself together. Okay. Main reason I'm asking, your attitudes right now very, very bad, right? I'm sure you agree with that. You're a bit ashamed of you. So now,
No need.
if
Sisi,
you
no
think,
need to
if you think
listen.
your
Listen.
prophet
Listen.
has
Listen.
power to bring death to life, because you say that doesn't matter whether Allah is the prophet, I guess that makes Muhammad more than prophet, because I thought it was Allah only brings death to life. Do you disagree with that?
I don't understand why you're dodging my question.
Well, first of
Answer
all,
my
if we
question.
go back to the narrative, sir, Muhammad didn't do any, all Muhammad did was request of Allah. It wasn't a miracle that Muhammad did. It wasn't
have-
anything.
Listen. See, I haven't. You are not answering my question straightforward. How does a prophet do a miracle?
Well, Muhammad didn't do a miracle in this case. Allah is the one who did everything. Muhammad simply requested.
Listen. God. I don't understand why you're dodging my question again and again.
Sir,
I'm asking you to set a criteria.
Mr. Muslim, do you think it is Muhammad who did the miracle and then brought his family back? Is it Muhammad
Still,
or
you're
is
not
it
answering.
Allah?
Still, you haven't answered my question.
I'm trying to be very kind with you, because
Calm down.
right now you
First
are
of all, calm
showing
down.
that you are very stupid. So, do you think, according to story, is it Muhammad or is it Allah?
Listen, calm down. First of all, calm down, okay? Answer my one simple question. I'm asking you one simple question.
It's not Muhammad in the
prophet-
story. It is not Muhammad. It is says, I ask my Lord. Allah is doing.
Again,
So do you want Muhammad to be the one
again.
doing?
Do you want to move to a different discussion than what we're dealing with, the question of miracles, or do you want to deal with what we're presenting? Because you're bringing up a question that is not dealing with this situation. We can answer the question of how does God work miracles, but that doesn't apply here to our presentation. So are you wanting to leave the subject of the stream and talk about miracles,
listen.
or do you?
The point is you used a wrong reference for a different topic.
Okay, explain that.
bring
How
that
so?
up. When you bring up this instance where the prophet's parents were revived, you are presenting a proof of prophethood. Now,
How?
the reason why I'm asking you this
How?
question,
Explain that.
the reason, first of all, let me clear my sentence. Come on, let me clear it. So the question that I'm asking you is, you denied me, saying no, it's not that. So that's why I want to establish a criterion of how does a prophet
We are not
do a
talking
miracle.
about. We are not talking about whether Muhammad is prophet or not. We are not talking about whether Muhammad did miracle or not, because our understanding is from the story. It is the Allah. Muhammad is asking Allah. If we got
That's
that
why.
wrong,
That's
correct us
you
in
are.
that point, and then we deal with your point.
No, you are actually proving that you're uneducated in this field.
Well,
You are
educate
dodging
us.
my one single question.
Oh my
See,
God.
I'm not here to educate you. I'm not here to
Okay,
educate you.
we're going
I'm-
to give you 1 minute. It's a long time, 60 seconds, to make your case, and then we're going to give a rebuttal. So can you just, in 60 seconds, tell us what you want us to understand from your point?
I never said I want you to understand my point. I'm asking a question, and you are
You
completely
sound like
dodging it
Allah
again and
who
again.
says, don't leave it vague. I don't want you to understand. Leave it vague. That's what Allah said.
See, come on, let's be honest and just answer my question. And then
So you don't want us to understand. Why are we talking?
what do you think? I came here to preach.
No, I don't know what you came here to do. We're trying to figure that out.
I came here to show you. I came here to see and show you that you are actually using the wrong argument for the wrong topic.
Okay, what would be the correct argument for this topic?
How would I say that?
Well, if you know that it's wrong, you should know what the right one is. How are you measuring this criteria? What's your criteria?
First of all, you haven't answered my question to establish a criterion.
Okay, we have the narratives from your scholars, from your websites. They say these things. We presented the quotes. What would you do with these quotes about Muhammad's parents from the Muslim narratives?
What do I have to do anything with them?
Well, we're doing something. We're presenting them and showing that when Muslims mock the biblical narrative
Okay.
of the raising of the dead, they are shooting themselves in the foot because they have these issues to deal with.
Okay, so when you are using these proofs, do you agree that these are valid?
That's not my point. My point is your scholars
stop
believe
dodging it.
they are.
No. I'm not saying if my scholar said X and Y. I'm asking
Okay.
a question. Do you believe that these are valid?
That what is valid? Be more precise.
The proofs you presented, do you believe that these are valid, believable proofs?
No, we're not questioning the credibility of the narratives. We're simply saying they did
Then
say
why are
this.
you even using it? Then why are you even using it if you do not agree on its
Because
credibility?
you got your scholars use them. Your scholars record it.
Okay, so my scholars say that Isa alayhi salam was not God. Use it as well.
Oh, I don't deny that your scholars say that, and I will quote
No,
your scholars.
that means you're
denying-
cherry picking. That means you're
I
cherry
just told
picking
you
now.
I don't deny that. I'm not going to change what your scholars have said.
So you
and
agree?
written.
Okay. So you agree?
We're not testing its truthfulness or credibility here. We're presenting
Come on,
the
man.
fact that your scholars have said it. And I don't deny that your scholars deny Jesus Christ. They certainly do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having these issues. What we are saying is that when a Muslim mocks the narrative in the Bible and they have their own narratives that are equal as far as the dead coming out of graves, they shouldn't be doing that because it's a slap in their own face. They're being hypocritical in doing that. So what is your answer to this point? This is our point. Don't be hypocrites.
Again,
Be
now it's
consistent.
back to a full circle. If you are presenting this as
So we are not going back to full circle. We just
No,
want
we
to
don't
figure
want to
out.
go back.
So it seems there is 40 generation marriage is taking place. So this is not about whether this story doesn't point out whether Muhammad is prophet or not. That's not the point we are making. According to this story, it's not the Muhammad who brings death to life. It is he asks Allah and then Allah is the one who does it. So therefore, there is a problem, right? Somehow Muslim is not getting that, and then he wants to circulate. That's not the case. Giant names like Al-Qurtubi, Suyuti agrees this is reliable, authentic story. So whether you agree it or not, your Muslim scholars are discussing that you've got these zombie stories are taking place in the familyhood of Muhammad. That doesn't mean Muhammad is prophet or not prophet. That means you've got some stories in your tradition that you've got to deal with.
And notice how quickly, Hatun, he went from this is a proof of Muhammad's prophethood because he was thinking Muhammad did the miracle. Now we clarify to him, no, it wasn't Muhammad who did the miracle, and it didn't matter to him. It's like, wait a minute, if I have an argument that says this is proof that Jesus is the Son of God, and then somebody shows me something, no, Jesus is never shown to be the Son of God, and I just keep moving on. It's like, wait a minute, you just took away a huge part of my belief, of my argument, of my proof for my religion. And he didn't even bat an eye. He didn't care. He just moved right along as if we didn't just discredit his miracle of prophethood. That is how insincere Muslims are about their religion. They don't care. They don't care if their arguments are completely fabricated, false, erroneous. In his mind, this was a proof of prophethood. Muhammad brought back his parents from the dead. But the problem is, the narrative never says Muhammad did it. So there went his one proof. If he has other proofs, fine, let's hear them. But at least that one got taken away from him, and he didn't even care. Didn't bother him.
Yeah. Someone points out, ask him why he called you lesbian dancing in the Pride Festival. I mean, no, my dancing skills are not very good. Especially my dancing skills are not good even dancing publicly, let alone in festivals. Point number one. Point
That's
number
weird.
two. Only time you will see me in alphabet people's gatherings that with the banner is calling them to repent. No other, there will be no other reason at all. So,
well, Muhammad would fit perfectly well in that parade when he was wearing Aisha's dress, right?
yeah, and then doing some stuff. So, brother, why don't you just kind of do you want me to move to the next slide?
Yeah, let's just get through this quickly. I just want to show that there are other family members of Muhammad that have perished and gone to perdition or to hell, according to Islam. I think I'm in slide 24.
Okay.
Let's see. They got the dead body in the screen.
Okay, my screen is very big. I need to leave and then come back because I can't see anything right now. Okay. I don't know whether you are able to see the hadith on the screen or not, but I will leave and then be back in a second.
Okay.
So hopefully you are able to see what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I have
If
my
not-
slides open as well, so I can
Okay.
match whatever you have. So, yeah, if you guys can still hear me, let's see here. Let me go back to
I'm
the
back.
slide.
Okay,
Zombie Shahada.
I am back. So, okay, slide is gone. I'll put it up again. I apologize.
No worries. I think it was slide 23, 24.
You said
Okay.
24.
Okay. So Muhammad raises the dead. Let's see. The mushrik of Mecca didn't believe in the prophethood of our prophet. So they got a dead body of a mushrik who was on the way to getting buried and asked the prophet to raise him to life. And if he succeeded, they would all convert to Islam. The prophet apparently raised the dead man, and the dead man gave shahada that he, in fact, is the messenger of Allah. I think I'm missing a slide that gives us that full narrative. Let's go ahead and skip that one. I'll deal with that some other time. We're going to go to Allah raises the dead. Muhammad raises the dead. I'm going to just skip past a few of these. Let's go to Muhammad's grandfather is also in hell. That's slide 33. And this is, again, in islamweb.com, an Islamic website. So if Muslims have an issue with this, go and email this website and ask their scholars why they are putting this up for us to read. With regard to Abdul Muttalib, he was the grandfather of the prophet, and he died upon polytheism, the religion of his people, who used to worship idols, which is very interesting because if we remember the satanic verses, when Muhammad became an apostate, a murtad, when he told the pagans as he was coming out from the door of the Kaaba, and the pagans were there, his tribesmen were there, and he said, have you not considered Allat, Al-Uz, and Manat, the third? And he allowed for the worship or intercession of the daughters of Allah, the three idols, the pagan, the Garanik, the high-flying cranes, whatever these pagan idols were, Muhammad accepted their intercession. And in these narratives, the earliest Islamic narratives from the first, second, and third centuries of Islam, the most credible, respected, authoritative narratives concerning Muhammad in Islam state that the pagans rejoiced, they celebrated, they bowed down with Muhammad and the Muslims in the worship of the pagan deities and Allah. And then there's a narrative where Muhammad is quoted as saying, I have become a partner with Allah and with Satan in this worship. And the pagans picked up Muhammad like a superstar and paraded him around like if he scored a touchdown in a football game and celebrated him. But Muhammad said, I have become a partner with Allah and with the Shaitan. So Muhammad committed shirk, he apostatized, and then the pagans said, Muhammad has returned to the religion of his parents, of his tribe, which we have here being stated in Islam Web, that the tribe of Muhammad was pagan, idol worshippers. So putting all of this together, it is clear that Muhammad's family, his tribesmen, his kin were pagans, they were polytheists. And Muhammad at one point worshipped with them, left Islam, and then Jibril had to come in and rebuke him. But the point is, it is very clear that the family of Muhammad were pagans. The next slide we have, where did I go?
Muhammad's uncle?
Muhammad's uncle. From, again, Islam.web. Abu Talib, the uncle of the Prophet, died upon the religion of his father, Abdul Muttalib.
Another pagan.
Another pagan. The Prophet did his best and utmost in calling his uncle to Islam and save him from hellfire. But Abu Talib's passion for the religion of his parents was stronger than favoring and following the truth, so he died upon polytheism and refused to embrace Islam. So Abu Talib, his passion for paganism was way stronger than the truth, than the religion of Allah. Muhammad couldn't convince him. Allah couldn't turn him. Jibril couldn't get in there. Abu Talib said, nope, this is better.
I've got the idea for this one.
Okay.
Because the culture is expecting to respect the elderlies. So you don't simply go and then put sword on their neck in those days, because they are the ones who looked after you. They are your elder, they are your family members, all those kind of things. So he tried to convince him, didn't work. And then for others, he was able to use sword. He was able to buy them. He was able to bargain with them.
So that's bribery.
Yep.
Wow. What did the apostle say to the man who wanted to buy the gifts of God?
You can't buy it.
He said, you and your money perish. Yeah. Very sad. So now we have Muhammad's parents, his mama and his papa. They had gone to hell, but maybe not, depend on which Muslim you ask, which scholar. They came back and took Shahada and then got sent back. His grandfather was a pagan. He went to the hellfire. His uncle perished and went to the hellfire. So the Prophet and those who have believed in forgiveness, polytheism, even if, okay, we go to the next slide. We have Sayyid ibn al-Musayyib. I'm just going to go down to the yellow. I'll start with the blue sentence right above it. Then Allah's messenger said, I will keep on asking Allah's forgiveness for you unless I am forbidden. So again, Muhammad is violating the Quran, asking forgiveness for someone to do so. So Allah revealed the verse concerning him, the person Muhammad's interceding for. It is not for the prophet and those who have believed to ask forgiveness for the polytheists, even if they were relatives, remember, kinfolk, after it has become clear to them that they are companions of hellfire. So here it seems to imply you can know that somebody is a companion of hellfire even before they go, just because they're polytheists. You can say, hey, you're in the state of polytheism, in the state of unbelief, or they say disbelief, you're a companion of the hellfire. So I'm not going to intercede here. So Muhammad again violates the Quranic command.
That's shocking, right?
Well, they seem to be comedians in Islam. Next slide. Again, it's talking about Abu Talib, Muhammad's uncle. Al-Abbas asked the Prophet saying, "O Messenger of Allah, do you benefit Abu Talib with anything? As he used to protect and take care of you and used to become angry for you." The Prophet said, "Yes, he is in the shallowest place of hellfire, where not for me, he would have been in the deepest part of hellfire." What a nice fellow this Muhammad is, Hatun. He could have put him up to his neck in the hellfire, but he just put it on his toes, his footsies. So that's pretty generous of Muhammad, right?
Well, all I'm hearing is like his prayers are not powerful at all.
Even though his uncle protected him,
Yeah.
risked his life for
He
him,
used to protect and take care of you.
take care of you. When his mama was gone and she was in the grave waiting to be brought back as a zombie, the uncle was there for him. When his papa had 4 years back, left him and never showed up, when his grandfather was gone, the uncle was there.
So it says he will be in the shadows place in hellfire with fire reaching his ankles and causing his brain to boil. So assumption is like coming from up to the down or down to up.
Well, from the feet, it's called convection. When the heat transfer, the laws of thermodynamics. So the heat is on his feet and it's traveling. Somehow it skips. Yeah, you're right. It's just jumping to the head.
It should remind you something like, yes, we are reading these like stupid story stuff. Muslims believe those things, but here's the thing. Lord Jesus Christ, eternal Son of the Father, the moment when we feel we've done something so messy, we cannot even turn to him. He's our advocate, right? The power of his prayer for us versus in here power of Muhammad's prayer, right? What do you get? Oh, you just like extend your conditions in hell, and your extended conditions are simply fire comes from your ankles and then goes up to your brain.
Well,
And
it's like a pot of porridge, Hatun, when you put it on the stove and it boils, because the fire's underneath, but it bubbles, the heat transfers up. So like his brain is like a pot of
bubbling
stew.
up.
Yeah, so it's just bubbling.
Yeah. So do you want him to be your intercessor? Do you want him to be praying for you? His prayers are so rubbish. The one who protected him, the one who take care of him, all he gets is, yeah, you are going to cook like a porridge in hell.
Yeah.
That's all he gets.
Now, Paul was very truly grieved and wept for his kinsmen, his Jewish brethren, had a true heart, didn't want them to be in hellfire at all. He didn't say, oh, Yahweh, only put them in up to their ankles or their knees and let their brain boil like porridge. He didn't want them there at all. But Muhammad says, here's my mercy. You'll be in the less hot place. You'll be in the lowest part of hell.
pain. This is the lessest pain.
Yeah. I mean, instead of saying, oh, Ya Allah, take them out completely. No, you can leave them. That's okay. Just boil his brain. That's a mercy from Muhammad to the
Well, the
God that
one,
protected him.
so his brain is gonna get fixed when he gets to paradise. I
Mm,
guess this guy is never gonna get to paradise because he's still,
yeah, no.
yeah.
Oh, here's a question, Hatun. How does Allah make room in hell for more people? What does the hadith say? What's the narrative?
I don't know.
He
Do I know?
uses his foot to
Oh yeah,
compress.
yeah. Oh yes, yes.
So does Allah's brain boil?
When his foot gets into hell, I don't know.
Right? Because if Abu Talib's brain is boiling with his up to his ankles, how deep does Allah's foot get into hell? And is that making Allah's brain boil?
Okay. We can ask that to another live stream. So do you want to comment on the last slide, brother?
Yeah, so the last one is basically affirming the fact that Muhammad's uncle stayed on the religion of his people until he died. No question about it. He died as a non-Muslim, as a pagan polytheist. It's hard to say that because Islam is pagan and polytheistic in a sense, but he died as a non-Muslim is the point. So the narrative, the moral of the story is Muslims, don't be hypocrites. Your Muhammad's parents went to the hellfire. They were brought back as zombies. They professed faith in Muhammad. They did the zombie shahada. Muhammad straight away had Allah send them back. Muhammad's uncle died as a pagan. He went to the hellfire. His grandfather died and went to the hellfire. His tribe died and went to the hellfire. Everyone around Muhammad in his life, from companions, tribesmen, and kinfolk, all died and went to hell. Muhammad joined the polytheists at one point and became a partner with Allah and with Satan, violating his own standards of shirk or blasphemy that condemn him for eternity. It's a very, very sad story. So we might have to walk around like Muhammad for a moment and be very grieved of the situation. But then we rejoice like Muhammad immediately because we know that there is hope. And that hope is not in Allah. It is in Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, who died on the cross for our sins, was crucified, buried, and risen from the dead, not as a zombie, in a perfect, glorified, awesome body. A perfect resurrection, not a zombie resurrection, a perfect, literal, physical resurrection in a glorified body. And he ascended up to heaven to sit at the right hand of God the Father, from where he will come back and judge the righteous and the wicked, the living and the dead. Christ our Lord, he is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and he is our final judge. So trust in him, Muslims. Don't trust in your Muhammad. Don't believe the false narratives or the contradictory narratives. Trust in Jesus Christ and him alone, and you will have a true resurrection, a real resurrection in a real glorified body, not a zombie body, and you will live in the presence of God for all eternity in bliss and not in torments. That is the moral of the story.
Thank you very much. I think we will have to stop here because in 5 minutes I've got live stream with Anthony Rogers.
Hey,
I
you
need
guys
to-
owe us some streams, so that's good.
I need to get to that channel. Let me put the link here. If any of you is available, it's a call-in live stream. You are very welcome to call in and then have debates and discussions with us. We'll see you there. Brother Truth Defender, thank you very much for joining me. We will see you again.
God bless. Shalom.